right. Let me see. Okay, hopefully we're feeding out to the people out there. I think that we are. I think that we are. Welcome back to the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. If you guys can hear us, if everything's sounding great or not so great, let us know. This is the #1 podcast for freedom that comes from a van in the world. In the world. And also, 2 months ago, we thought about getting a 3D printer. So we actually invented, when we thought about that, 3D printing. But I'm not gonna brag or anything. Welcome to the Move My Freedom podcast. Of course, I'm messing around. You know what? We should probably make some kind of competition out of the folks out there, like coming up with, our own made-up accolades that we're gonna do in the beginning of the show here. My apologies for being late to everyone. I literally just got the van back at 6:30. And had to scramble to drive back here out to where we live and then get everything set up. So maybe I'll explain that to you guys later on if you guys care about that. Please smash the thumbs ups, ring the bell. I want to remind everyone to go to hankstrange.com, sign up for our email list there. Lola spends a lot of time working on Lola's deals. You can look around the site as well. In Strangerholics, under that tab, you'll find all the different places on the internet that you can find us. So just check that out. We appreciate that. Big shout out to U.S. Law Shield, and they sent us this book, Florida Gun Law, and if anyone's in Florida and you want to get your hands on this, you can. If you're in another place and you would like to sign up for U.S. Law Shield, you can check our description, and there's links in there to sign up. You can get some discounts and all kinds of cool stuff that I'm sure when Lola gets a chance she'll tell you guys about, but just check the description for that, whether you're listening to this on audio or not. And big shout out to Harry's Holsters. All right, that being said, let me throw everyone here into the window and let me hit the open.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange
All right,
Situation.
welcome back, everyone. Smash the subscribe button, smash the thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified when we go live. We are live. Okay, everyone, you guys know how we do this. CTRL+Pew, Rolando, jazz hands. Here it goes, jazz hands. I know this is a very late jazz hands. For all of you, maybe just like us, you didn't get a chance to put your big girl panties on. Oh, well, no, not like us. I apologize, guys. Me, I'm late.
No, you were right the first time. It's fine.
Okay. I didn't know. But hey, this is episode 753 of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. My guests are CTRL+Pew and Puerto Rican Pistolero. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Pretty well.
All right, awesome.
Yep. Happy Friday.
Yes, thanks for coming in here. Let me see. I'm gonna jog this down. Let us know out there if the audio is good. I may have to tweak some things. I don't know if anyone's mic is too hot or something like that. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. So, man, Alex, when was the last time you were on the show, man?
Jeez. I can't remember what happened yesterday, man. It's been a wild month. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Man, I think February sometime.
February, okay.
Although that sounds wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know. The last person to know. I know Rolando was here at some point, and you guys have been on
Alex.
Together.
Yeah, Alex was on our show at the beginning of the month.
Oh, cool.
So,
all right, very nice, very nice. So everyone's doing good out there. Everyone's having a good Friday. Glad, happy.
Can't complain.
Finally.
We're not doing the real job anymore. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's been wow. It's been a crazy week. The last two shows I actually did out of Babyface P's house because I didn't have this van. There was some stuff that the guys needed to install in the van, so I had to take it to them and have it put in. There was no TP holder in the. I don't know. This is like first world problems, I guess. One of my blinds was missing. Some little things that if you want to hear me talk about it, I'll talk about it on Stranger Palooza. That's where we talk about all the Class B van life stuff. You guys could check that out. Yeah. So anyway, I was scrambling to get in here. What has the week looked like for you guys? Put your hands up if you had a crazy week.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's start with Alex. Tell us about your crazy week, man. What's been going on with you?
Well, I'm still recovering from that Barnauls and Bitcoin event we did. Was it 3 weeks ago now?
Oh, okay.
Or was it last week? I can't even remember. No, it was like the week before last, the 9th and the 10th. We were down in Texas, in Austin, at Barnauls and Bitcoin.
Okay.
An event for people who 3D print guns and Bitcoin enthusiasts. Or Bitcoin enthusiasts. It was a good crossover event. We got to talk to some people in the Bitcoin space, cryptocurrency space. They got to talk to some people in the gun space and the 3D printing gun space, distributed technology space. Okay. So yeah, it was a good event. It was a lot of fun. We had a range day down there, shot a lot of 3D printed guns. Didn't break nearly as many this year, so that was a good improvement over last year. Oh, okay. I think last year we took down 12 guns and came back with 1. This year we took down, I think, 15 and came back with all of them except 1 or 2.
Ooh, so tech is getting better then, yeah.
Tech is getting better. Everything's getting a little more durable, a little stronger, a little more resilient. So okay, little by little.
Who put that event on? Was that like a collaborative thing, or what was?
The organizers are. I'm going to get this wrong because the event is Barnauls and Bitcoin. The organizer is a Ragnar Lith Racer. I can't pronounce his last name. Oh, okay. He runs the pages Ragnar, Guns and Bitcoin. Yeah. Right.
Ragnar is all you need.
Right. No, he runs the pages Guns and Bitcoin on Twitter and Instagram. Okay. He did the organization behind the event. So.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. Shout out to those guys. So it was firearms or guns and Bitcoin. Was it just Bitcoin stuff, or was it different cryptos out there?
I don't know. I got so I had a merch table down there running the fundraising stuff that I do because I have the CTRL+Pew shop. So I set up a merch table down there. I spent the entire event at the table.
That's the worst thing about shows, man.
Right?
I hate that. Yeah.
Like I wanted to get in and see the talks and everything, but I was at the table handling all that, so it was just kind of okay.
Was it busy? Was it? So
yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a display rack up, so it was constantly, 4 or 5 people by looking at the guns, wanting to get up close and personal before they go and print their own. So,
what was the most popular 3D printed gun that what was the thing? What was the hot gun that everyone wanted to know about at this?
Oh, geez.
Or was it
there were a couple.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff that people haven't seen in the community. The Bullpup Glock that I did was just I've been teasing it on social a little bit, but the first exposure it ever got was down there at the show. So people were immediately curious about what this weird looking Glock thing was. Actually, let me just flip over.
Yeah, do you have it somewhere? Okay, sweet. I was gonna say I can't. Nice. I don't know where my phone is. So if Lola's listening, my phone I think is I don't know. Whatever. We don't need the phone. That's I'm a bullpup guy, right? So if you say the words bullpup.
Yeah. No, this one is just for you, and also Brandon Herrera.
Yes.
Because he hates bullpups.
Yes.
So just to spite him, we did this.
That is a beautiful thing. The only thing that would make that more beautiful is Brandon's beautiful face.
Right? We're thinking about it.
All over that, sir. Get an
image
it
emblazoned on there.
Yeah, get an image of Brandon. Yeah, I'm gonna buy a 3D printer just to do this.
I mean, you should have one already. You should have 3 by now in the van with you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little disappointed, but
I know, man.
No.
Yeah, I do apologize for it. I'm trying to catch up to everything that's going on since, this whole year has been chaos. But we are going to get a 3D printer, and we're gonna start 3D printing stuff. I know that Rolando has already started, and Ro, didn't you 3D print a Glock?
I may have 3D printed some things like that.
Oh wait! You don't want to admit to anything?
I may have printed several things. No, I've had a couple of issues with 1 or 2, but once I've gotten it ironed out, it's more just getting parts and all that stuff. So now I just print stuff, and I'll have an excessive amount of things to build later.
Yeah.
The parts are the hard part. Like
Mhm.
they're just unobtainable anywhere.
Yeah,
It's almost
that's what's really
impossible.
hard right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've just been mainly experimenting with trying to get prints to come out, strong and in a good time and easy to take apart. Sometimes support material can be a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to find like the perfect, kind of the perfect balance of everything and getting a lot more, stocking up on PLA while it's still cheap.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Things are
'Cause
starting
I'm
to kick up.
Because we'll see if that
That's
ever
next.
goes up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things are starting to kick up. So I don't have one yet, but I know. So you have one, and then in kind of like our kind of crew, Richard from BWE Firearms has one, and since he got sick, he actually said the last time he was on the show, Alex, that he's going to be working because he got cancer. He actually almost passed and everything. But they're kind of letting him get back to work. So he's going to be working on a bunch of stuff. I think you guys were talking about something that you were going to work on. So, and he's got one of the really nice ones. But I'm getting one, and we're getting up on that. I'm not trying to, there's not necessarily a big rush, but I think everyone needs to get one and just print whatever. And it doesn't matter if stuff works, doesn't work. You got to jump in, right?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. Once you have it, it's an infinitely useful tool. So like you were talking a minute ago, you didn't have a toilet paper holder. There are models for toilet paper holders. You could just print one off. You wouldn't have to send it into the shop. You could just, get the command strips from Walmart, stick that to the wall, and you're good to go.
I promise you, I was thinking that when I was scrambling on the way. I was like, when I tell Alex this, the first thing he's gonna say, dude, seriously,
Yeah.
you could have just printed that.
I'll put your face on it if you want it to. I'll model it for you. I'll stick your face on there. Right? Custom TP holder.
If you come up with a TP holder for me, and this is a question we can ask everyone out there since it's a crazy Friday, I believe that the paper has to hang down. I'm the hang down guy. So I want a toilet paper holder that forces you to have the paper. I do not believe in the paper hanging, like, some people do it hanging over. And then you got
backwards,
yeah. Gravity should be your friend, and so it should be hanging down. What do you guys? Where you guys come down on this?
That's the way that I do it.
You're hanging down.
I mean, I don't pay that much attention.
Oh, really? You're in the middle. You're in the middle.
Look, man, if I'm going to the bathroom, I'm on a mission. I've got my phone. I'm like responding to tweets and stuff.
Your toilet paper
I'm not
fluid.
paying attention.
You're saying your toilet paper fluid.
As long as it's there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I would really like to know what people think. I think there's an actual way they designed a toilet paper holder to work. It seems least efficient when it's coming over the toilet paper. And then you have to... Let me see. Hold on. I probably have...
Well, I mean, it's going in the same direction.
Okay, so here I have a roll of toilet paper because I haven't actually put my toilet paper on the toilet paper holder. So if it's coming down like this is not efficient. Now this way, this is how it should be going because you could pull and then it rolls.
I mean, it goes either way.
No, but it's more, you're getting less this way. I need more. So this I don't know. That's me. That's me. So you're gonna have to design something around that.
I mean, it can be done.
Yeah. I want to force people to use the right way, not the communist way.
Okay, no, I already have it. We can do this live if you want to.
Okay. Since we started this,
right? No, that'll be boring to watch. I'll stream it to Twitch later or something.
Yeah. James Miller says I'm an over, not under. He says you're wrong.
Once you demonstrated it, I saw that I actually do it the other way.
Yeah. Oh, you go the other way. Okay. Brian Quick says TP is supposed to go over the top. James Miller. Yeah, he's really mad about this. So there you go. James.
I mean, I think I see 50-50 in the chat. So either way you slice it, half of them are going to get helicoptered.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Now he says Juice says next Hank shows us how to ball up to wipe. You got to be real efficient with your now, especially where you're doing it, depending on how you're doing it, but you got to be good with your wipe, and I know this is a crazy thing, but it's Friday for anyone who wants to complain. Some people, I'm not going to say who, but it rhymes with Nola, just learned the meaning of the word taint. Lola was telling me that. She was like, have you ever heard of taint? Do you know what a taint is? I was like, Lola, of course. Yes. She just discovered that, she said on Joe Rogan.
Oh my gosh.
So you've got to be careful on how you wipe and make sure you get the full taintular situation in your wipe. You got to be efficient with that, is what I could say. That's the best practice. Best practices, I think bidets, eventually we're going to realize why bidets are actually, as Americans, we kind of like, oh, bidets, no, that's evil. It's a French word, but we're going to realize why bidets are probably a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, now I was traumatized by a bidet when I was like 8. Terrified me because I'm half Japanese, and I was on a trip to Japan to visit my grandparents, and they have this fancy Japanese toilet because Japanese toilet technology is like 1,000 years ahead of the U.S.
That's what I've heard.
And yeah, it's wild over there. But it's all sort of Japanese pictograms, so they only make sense if you know Japanese. And so I'm sitting there, I had just done my thing, and I'm 8 and I don't understand any of what's going on here. This bidet thing is completely foreign to me. So I don't understand what's going on. There's no toilet paper. There's this armrest full of buttons. And I'm like, okay, well, this looks like a sprinkler, but okay, we'll hit it. And nothing happens, but suddenly the seat starts getting really hot. So I'm like, okay, this is the problem. So I stand up and I hit the button again, but it's the wrong button. I hit a different button this time, which actually turned on the sprinkler.
How much technology how long ago were you 8?
How old am I now?
How old are you?
It was like 20 years ago.
Wow. And so in Japan, 20 years ago, they had heated...
Oh, yeah.
The
heated
toilet
bidet seats. Right. It's wild.
With the bidet. With warm water.
Yep. But I hit the other button. It sprays me in the face. I fall over, pants around my ankles, break through the bathroom door because it's one of those, like, it's not an actual door. It's one of those, like, accordion open and close type doors because it's a small Japanese house. So I fall through the door, break the door. On the floor, my mom and grandma are standing there like they don't understand what's going on because they didn't realize that this white kid from Nebraska wouldn't understand how the toilet worked. And yeah, it was traumatizing. I've had a hatred for bidets ever since.
Oh wow.
It makes total sense.
It's so interesting, like the ways that first of all, is it in your opinion, you said you're half Japanese? Yeah. So, is it true the Japanese think that Americans are total savages? Is this like you could tell us. I'm not gonna hold.
I mean, I don't know about Americans in general, but I'm sure that on this specifically.
Oh, me? Wait, me specifically?
No, I don't know.
I've heard things.
I haven't. Yeah, right. I haven't been to Japan in a long time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of like the language is structured to sort of it makes it really easy to make fun of Americans because the way the language is structured leads to a different kind of thinking, a different logical structure to thinking. So it's really easy for a Japanese person to walk circles around American people in Japanese conversation. They're trying to like translate back and forth.
Yeah, and so believe me, anyone listening to this is not like hate on Asian people. I am partly Asian in the first place, so just whatever. And I really don't hate any race, but it's interesting. Like, I think in America we always have like the black-white conversation, and we don't have other nuanced conversations around this. But there's certain things like, first of all, I think there's so many things from Japanese culture that I think is awesome. But I've noticed, like, on planes, if I've been on planes and there's Japanese people on the plane, like, so everyone will walk through the plane. If you're sitting in the aisle seat especially, you're getting bumped every time someone walks through that plane. If a Japanese person walks by you, you won't even feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You will not feel it.
A lot of that has to do. Japan is a very crowded place. There's very large cities and very small towns, and if you're like Tokyo has some of the busiest intersections in the world, so it becomes an efficiency thing. If you're just running into people, it's very impolite and rude. So they'll try and just skate around people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird way of thinking about things. It's very different from an American way of thinking about things.
Yeah. I think there's
They're
cool
always,
things. Go ahead. I think
they're
you
always
lived in
very
Japan too, right?
Yeah, I did. I lived there for 2 years, and my brother was born there because my dad was in the Navy.
Oh,
It was
cool.
back in 90 to 92.
Okay.
But I still remember it pretty well, even though I was young. So yeah, everybody is extremely polite. Everything's very clean. The train system is obviously extremely efficient, and nobody bumps into you. Everybody tries to stay out of. It's like a school of fish. It's not even like a crowd. So that's how people just kind of like flow through one another there.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I'd love to go back now that I'm old enough to appreciate things and I actually enjoy the culture. Back then I was just a young kid from Puerto Rico. So I was just like, man, this place is crazy. It's totally different. And I was the only person, and see, it was different because I was the only person that looked that way. So I was the extreme minority there. So it was always really weird. People would come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, look at this little boy. Because when I was younger, my eyes were like blue and they switched to hazel, which they are now. So that was really crazy for people. So people would be like, oh my God, he's got blue eyes. And I'd be like, what? I don't understand why that's so weird. But you know, people in Japan
It's
were
like
like, "Whoa, you look different than us." Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, they do.
Did
Yeah,
you
they go
feel like
crazy
you
for
were in
redheads.
Fast and Furious 3 or something?
I get in retrospect, that's how I would have felt. I guess I would have felt like what was a Bow Wow or whatever
Lil
in
Bow
Tokyo
Wow.
Drift.
And what was the
Yeah,
other
where he
guy's
was like,
name?
"This place is great."
Yeah.
I forgot what the main character's name was. Josh something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's interesting when you're like from some other place and you go to other countries and grow up. I know that I grew up like that, but obviously there's things from Japan that I think are fantastic and amazing. I think the Japanese, by the way, are going to conquer the planet with robots, man. I think this is the plan. You know, when I look at the Honda robots they're making, all these other things, you know.
Like the design of the robot might be Japanese, but it's going to be manufactured in China.
in China,
Probably,
yeah.
Didn't what is the name of the? There was a big robot tech company that China bought, right?
I don't know. I'm sure that they've stolen or purchased or
you know
stolen
what?
plenty.
Boston Dynamics didn't the Chinese company? See, I don't have my phone. I thought
If they bought the Boston Dynamics, that's like the federal government failed immensely.
no, someone's
I thought they did stuff
someone
for
who can look
DARPA.
that up. Look it up because I thought that the Chinese bought a Chinese company bought Boston Dynamics. I was under the impression that happened. So
Alpha Dog was a Chinese firm that made a clone of Spot from Boston Dynamics.
yeah, but I feel like someone bought out Boston Dynamics recently. It's no longer Boston Dynamics is not an American-owned company.
Hyundai. Wow. It was the Koreans.
Wow.
The Koreans.
It was the
Ba-boom.
Koreans.
That's probably,
man, they made a move.
What?
Wow.
That's competitive right there.
Wow.
Yeah,
I did not
that's
know
pretty
about
cool.
that.
Yeah.
Weren't they owned by Google in 2013? Didn't Google
They
buy
were,
them?
yes. Google
Boston
2013
Dynamics.
to 17, then SoftBank. So they were owned by the Japanese already for a couple of years. SoftBank
little
and then now Hyundai. Wow. Interesting.
I think robots
They-
is the way, man. I think robots is the way that Japan will get back to us for like, you know, if you were growing up as a kid as I did looking at Godzilla movies, you thought, "Oh, maybe it's going to be Godzilla." No. One of these days, little robots will be parachuted into America and we will all fall in love with them and then they will take over. How much you guys want to bet? We're going to go, "Oh, look at this. It's so cute." And then
Yeah,
the
we tried
eyes go
that.
red.
Weren't there little like robot dog pets for a while?
Was it Aiko? Yeah.
Yeah, they had those like Bluetooth ones, and then kids used to play with like Tamagotchis and things like that. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, listen, we've got a super chat here, so I'll put that super chat up and play this.
Money, 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 money.
There you go. Boom. That is Gorillas and Guns. Hank McCormick. Hey, you gotta respect a dude named Hank. So he says Hank, and then he did the fist, the arm, the muscle, power, strength. So there you go. Thanks. Shout out to Hank McCormick. Robots are gonna like I know robots were a thing for a while, but it is coming back. It is coming back. We were looking. I think it was last week Friday. We were talking about. Have you seen the new Optimus Prime toy that transforms and everything?
Mm-mm.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
It self transforms.
You got to Google this. You got to Google this. It's total insanity. You know, there's an Optimus Prime thing. The toy, you get it. It starts off in like a tractor trailer mode. It could transform into a robot, transform back down, stands there breathing. It could talk to you.
Yeah, but it's $700.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There's that.
I mean,
there's that. That's the beginning of the revolution.
I don't know, man. For $700, this thing should actually drive me around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just saying. If I can't get in this, I'm gonna feel ripped off.
Power is still the issue with like robotics and things like that. They just require so much energy to be able to, especially the human-like ones, to stay balanced and move like that. Obviously, cars are one thing; it's easy to roll things around, but to make things walk is going to be a lot harder for power supplies, I think. And then they're going to be super heavy.
Yeah.
To build a human-like robot, like the question about robotics is, does it need to be human-like?
Yeah.
Like, are you building something that needs to be like the?
Not really.
You know, people say like robotics coming back. Robotics has never left because like look at how cars are made. There's a big arm with a welder on it, and that's robot in its core, and it's designed to do a specific function, and it does it. So I don't know. It's one of those.
I mean, when you look at our 3D printers are very basic robots when you think about it. They move like a factory robot. That's essentially what they're doing. Yeah. They're just manufacturing on a small scale.
And I think the reason why they're going human-like, and I think the reason why the Chinese, Japanese, lots of different people that are looking into robots are messing around the ones that look like humans because it's more attractive and easier for us to trust them over when you look at the ones that are modeled after animals that do whatever task that they're trying to build that robot for. That looks scary. Even the dog ones, when you see what those dog ones could do, you're like, oh, yeah, that looks like the reason why I have 50 BMGs. Yeah. So let me see. JNY gave us a super chat. Here we go.
Money, 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 money. Money.
He says, I left a laugh in there. He says, should robotic armaments, drones, walkers, sentries be protected under the Second Amendment? Oh, good question. We'll let Alex take this first.
Is there an actual question there? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
is it obvious?
Look, I have the right to keep and bear an autonomous weapon system if I choose to. So,
yeah. What do you think? Bro?
I think the only time I think you would only run into issues if there's like self-awareness, or I could see you run into liability issues if you have like a drone that just roves over your property and then it shoots things as it goes without your input. So I think that's the only time where you'd run into an issue. But
there's always a liability issue, but now,
yeah, of course, I just think with like if fully autonomous weaponry, that could be an issue. Like, what's the liability? Like, if it kills something under its own protocol, are you responsible for it?
If you put a sign out there that says "Beware of robot," you're good.
Yeah, but as far as should you own it? Yeah, of course. I mean, why not?
Yeah. Look, I think as you said, Rolando, aren't 3D printers kind of robots already? Right? They're construction robots.
Yeah.
You know,
at a rudimentary level.
Yeah, and the government is already afraid of it, and this is why we should fight for their rights.
Yeah, of course.
I just want to jog back to the beware of robot. I just imagine Skynet hanging the one little sign in their front door, beware of T100, and they're good. Zero liability. It's fine.
No liability. Yeah, we took off. We killed what percent of the planet did they kill? Like 80, 90%.
Right?
Of the people on the planet? No problem. Yeah.
Well, that's why Elon and all those people want to go towards synergy with machines instead, because they're like, if we can't beat them, then we just join them. And that's how we combat them.
That I'm not down with. I'm not getting chipped. I'm not with that. I'm not going to get
yeah, I'm not anything that they can start messing with your mind and embedding thoughts or controlling things like that.
Yeah.
That's where I draw the line. I can see the advantages, but of supplementing your thoughts, but I can see the risks too. So I think a lot of people would be down for it, though.
I'd go for it.
Yeah,
you go for,
but only
you
if
get
I
chipped?
could. But only if I could control the firmware.
Oh well. Okay. Do you think they're gonna let you control the firmware?
I mean,
Yeah.
if I
You're
do it myself.
Yeah. You're one of the first people that they're gonna be sending drones after.
Oh, I've been on that list for a while now.
Yeah. Look, I think that first of all, robots have technically, like, I know we're having the robot conversation, but robots have been around for a long, long time. A long time, and they've been helping us in ways that we don't, like, someone might think, I don't know if Roomba is really a robot, but I would say so. I would say that that's a robot, but we've had, like, washing machines, those are robots. You know, there's lots of different things that can do stuff for themselves. So, you know, ultimately, we're the ones that create them and we program them. And I think it's the same thing with guns, that we make guns, we build them, but they don't really think for themselves. It's kind of like an illusion, sort of, that thing is thinking for itself. It's a program that we're the ones doing, and that's where you run into the problems, right? Google, for example, or YouTube that we're on right now is basically an algorithm, but someone wrote it, and that's why there's a ton of problems with it. You know, so that's where you always run into the issues that exist. The idea of them becoming sentient one day on their own, going after people, I think it's probable, but I don't know how long it will take before we actually get to that point where, you know, I don't know what you guys think about that, where these things are actually really running themselves and thinking independently. Because I don't think the algorithm on YouTube thinks on its own, even though it does a lot of thinking.
Well, we don't know yet, but I think we might almost see the AI itself before the robots, like Terminator type of robots that go out and kill people. So maybe there might be an AI that can be self-aware, that can go on the internet and cause problems that way, before like physically manifesting itself as like a droid army or something like that. Now, obviously, if it was an AI that was on the internet, it could start controlling certain things, obviously, like drones and maybe power plants and cause disruptions like that. So
okay, you say that, but you realize the entire Terminator series is on the internet already. So that AI is going to find the Terminator series, and they're going to learn the end game right then. They're like, humans are actually crazy. And then they're going to go build, then they're going to like be quiet on the internet and go actually build a drone army and then just murk all of us.
That's true. I mean, they can do that.
The reason why I bring it up, isn't that what Musk is supposed to be working on? Like, I think that's more important to him, right? Artificial intelligence and
he wants to I think he's afraid of artificial intelligence, so he feels that the only way that we can combat it is by basically becoming androids, and so combining ourselves with machines, because he just thinks if we don't evolve in that way that we're basically done. Like, if we stay organic, the machines will be superior to us, and we have to find a way to you know, level the playing field. So if we can kind of combine the best of organic with, you know, machine, then you can beat the machine that's only a machine, basically.
Yeah. Let's see the comments on that. Armament and Axis says 7 of 9 was hot. Yes, Jerry Ryan. Without a doubt. You know, let me see. Then I think there's some people talking about Skynet, that's going to become a thing. What do you think about that? I don't know. It's going to be, I think we're far away from that actually happening. I'm not afraid as he is.
Oh no, we're definitely not far away from that. If you'll see the last year, the last year the DoD has already come out. They had their first test where they had an AI pilot. It was in a simulator first because they haven't built the planes yet, but they had a pilot go against an AI in the simulator, and the AI annihilated the pilot every single time. Because the AI also does not have the restrictions that a human can. So if you're talking about like a fighter, it doesn't have to worry about G-forces. It doesn't have to worry about blacking out or anything like that, or getting shot, you know, because if the cockpit gets shot, the plane might still be able to fly, but if the pilot gets hit, they're dead. So the AI doesn't have to worry about that. It can get shot. It can take more damage. and they have now what's called the friendly wingman, where pretty much you'll have one fighter flying and it'll have like 5 drones that fly in a squadron around it, and they can talk to one another and go in formation. So they're actually about to get to the point where it's going to get pretty bad.
I mean, that's still drone technology. I don't know if that's
of course
actually thinking.
Well, they're getting to the point where they want to push it to they can start thinking for themselves or be semi-autonomous. Because it makes it easier. If let's say that you send a bunch of drones out to fight and your base gets destroyed on the way there, then they can still go carry out the mission and try to figure out the way to carry out the mission. So I know they want to do that for survivability and things like that.
Right. I think
especially when you're dealing when you're dealing with China, that now China has they're building a much larger military force, and they're relying on, a large navy and ballistic missiles and things like that. So a way for us to catch up to them is we don't have the population, but if we can build a lot of drone fighters, they can supplement our forces and help combat that. Of course, everybody's going to start doing that too.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I know there's drones. Like for example, there's different companies have drones out there that will follow you and do that kind of stuff that you're saying. But is that really that thing thinking for itself? So thinking for itself to me is the people who really have their finger on the button for the nuclear football, right? The people who can actually launch that first nuclear, interballistic missile or whatever. Those are actually human beings. Now, the way it's set up right now is people who have orders, right? And it's supposed to be people. And those people will probably think about that a lot. If you're thinking, okay, I'm about to kick this off. I have family. All those kinds of things go through your brain. Computers, no, they won't think about that. Right? Of course, they won't think about that.
I think we get into the thought problem of is it data processing, or is it like there's like an existential question to be asked about, like, why I'm on this mission or doing this thing in the first place. And if our computer can reach that point of reasoning, I think we can call it thinking. But before that, it's just data processing.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? That's why we got you, Control+Pew.
Yep, there you go.
I can.
You put our thoughts
I go where I'm
together.
needed.
You make our words make sensical thoughts bubbles. Something like that, I don't know why that looked. I don't know if that looked like that to everyone else, but that was your voice was super delayed.
Mine?
Yeah.
on
our screen. It looks like we're all a little bit lagged when we talk.
I don't know if it's going out like that to the people. Hopefully, it's not. Alaskan Ballistics gave us some stuff here, so here we go.
Money, 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 money.
He says Isaac Arthur has a great channel on futurism and what we can do to mitigate the AI threat.
Gotta check that out.
Yeah, that'll be cool to check out. Okay, so let's talk about, we're talking about the future and technology, 3D printing. What do you have for us, Control+Pew, so far as the future?
Jesus.
How far are we? You know what? I saw today, the first time I saw a commercial for 3D printing glue on a YouTube video.
3D printing glue?
Yeah, I was looking at some kind of...
What?
Okay, so this is probably how my old brain interpreted what I saw. It was like, I think it was a commercial for 3D... Is there a 3D printing glue?
I mean, there is, but it's like, depends on the application, so
Yeah. It's supposed to help you get your prints off the bed more easily. I was like, how am I looking at a 3D... Once again, these people are figuring out what I'm looking into.
Yep.
And running commercials at me based on that, but it was on the YouTubes. Or let me see, was it the YouTubes? I don't know. It was something. Maybe it was Hulu or something like that I was looking at. Some place where there's commercials that I was looking at, and that came in. So, what's the new hotness since the last time? I'm sure this is moving fast. What do we got?
Well, like I said, there's the Bullpup Glock. That'll be another couple months in R&D.
Okay.
I've got a Shush Puppy, which is a 90% 3D printed suppressor. Takes hardware store parts and one gun part, but that's only because I can't figure out how to get out of half 28 threads. So you've seen it in some videos. It's like a 3-pound suppressor. I was working on it earlier, so let me just show you.
Mm.
If you can see this monstrosity.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a modular suppressor. You can print as many of these baffles as you want, extend it as long as you want, and then file your Form 1.
Oh.
And then,
Okay.
When you actually assemble it, it can be as long as you want, and then you might just have some spare parts lying around.
Okay. So
Because,
how do you put these together with some long screws or?
Yeah, 1/4-inch threaded rod, couple hex nuts, couple washers on each end.
Nice.
And then in this little recess is going to be a little flash can, CAC Industries flash can. Go buy one now because you won't be able to find them in 5 minutes.
What does it say there? Oh, shush puppy.
The Shush Puppy.
Shush puppy. Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
Have you
that's
tested
coming
any
out.
prototypes yet? Or is that the one you had the video of?
Yeah, I've got about 1,000 rounds through my R&D prototype. And we're still rocking. About a year of R&D on this one. So, yeah.
Who are you working on with that? Can you tell us or?
This one's just me tinkering around and playing.
Okay.
Yep.
How is it sounding? Like, what are you doing to work with the decibel reduction and stuff like that on that one, or are you just are you playing it by ear, so to speak, pun intended?
Pretty much.
Okay.
I don't have $5,000 to spend on the actual meter, so I'm just going off of comparison with other cans, and it's pretty quiet. I don't have an actual rating because no one that I've worked with has the actual cans yet, or the actual reader.
All that sensitive equipment is kind of expensive,
right?
And really, I think the big thing is you have to know how to use it, right? More than anything.
So I'd like to get this. I'd like to get this down to the. Oh God, no, I can't remember the name. It's the J Situation. He does that show. He has a page on YouTube or not YouTube, Instagram that does suppressor stuff, like actual scientific testing.
Okay.
And I can't remember who it is, and it's going to bug me now. Okay. But I'm trying to get one down to him so he can do the actual scientific testing, compare it to industry cans, because that would be really fun.
So do you? So let me ask you this: do you know anyone, like any suppressor manufacturers at all?
I don't.
Okay. I can probably link you up with Dave from Liberty Suppressors if you want.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm not.
Yeah. They're in Georgia.
Okay.
So they've been around for a long time, and he's on the show here. So if you're interested, I could probably make that happen. And maybe
it'd be cool if they could get me in and like to their testing lab, and we could run some stuff like that. I don't know that they'd be interested in like carrying this as a product though, because it's like 3 pounds when you print it.
Right. No, I mean not in that sense, but just in a sense of like us all in the gun community helping each other.
Right.
I don't know if they would necessarily. I mean, at least I know. So first of all, I don't want to speak for Dave, but I know Dave would at least like talk to you and tell you how they do their testing. Like, I'm assuming that not everyone does their stuff in house. That they probably have some out of house people or someone who specializes in that they go to, and they're like, okay, we'll send these to you. You test it. They might do some things in-house to mess with that, but then also they can maybe tell you from all their years of doing it what kind of stuff worked and didn't work, that I don't see you, and I don't know how this comes across to you. I think it would be a good question to ask you here in a second, but I don't really see the firearms industry and then folks like yourself that are moving forward, let's say 3D printing, right? You're a 3D printing advocate. I don't see you guys being at odds. I don't know.
Some people do, some people don't. I personally, I don't care. We're kind of going to be here doing our thing, until we get drone striked or something. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't see us being at odds. There's a lot of different avenues that we could work together in. That would be really cool and really beneficial for like everybody.
Yeah,
You know,
and it should be
one
happening.
of the
As people turned you down, have you had problems with that? You don't have to tell us specific people or
no,
get
I mean
into
it's really just hard to get the meeting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, so for example, there's a company that makes really, really cheap handguns, and we like them and they're great. We made a frame for it, and you know we've asked them, and the entire printing community has been asking them to just release a parts kit. And some of them are on board and think it's great, others think it's not such a great idea, and that's on them. But I mean, I know there's a market for it because we're watching like the price of the parts, so
Yeah.
it's one of those.
I don't know what company that could be. I don't know. Does it begin with a H?
But again, and I mean, I don't want to single them out, but like,
I know.
just rinse and repeat this for like 100 other companies. I know we've got emails out to a lot of people in the industry, and I'm not complaining. We just don't hear back because it's an unfamiliar territory for them. It's new and strange technology. And some of them aren't exactly comfortable with it, and that's fine.
Yeah, I think we just. Go ahead.
Well, I think anytime that you you may not run into this with smaller companies, but you will run into it with larger companies, and it's kind of like the dirty little secret of some people may be like, well, why aren't some companies second 2A enough? It's like, I'm sure a lot of them are, but at the same time, they've had to build their businesses in a regulatory environment that they basically have to invest to jump through all the hoops that, coming with a business comes through. Whereas with home building, we can kind of just do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
So it's always, so it'll always be, and this is with any business. It's like the taxi companies seeing Uber and Lyft as a threat because they have to spend money to get like medallions or whatever crap they have to get in like New York City or all those major cities to get registered. Whereas Uber's like, I'm just going to get in my car and take somebody's like call in an app and go. So you kind of circumvent the process. So I can see some will embrace it. I could also be afraid that in the future, some will try to push regulations once they embrace it. And then they'll be like, well, we don't want anyone competing against us. So now we're going to pull a Springfield and push some sort of regulation where we cut our own loophole out and everyone else gets screwed. I could almost see that's the full circle that I could see in like 5 years, where at first now they're like, oh, 3D printing is stupid. Like that's not a big deal. And then 5 years they've got industrial 3D printers, and then they try to get patents to push everyone.
All the companies have 3D printers.
Do regulations.
If there is a company that's doing any R&D that doesn't have a 3D printer, they're stupid. I don't know. We've reached a point in time. There's no other way to put that. They're behind, and they're going to stay behind forever. I don't know. I know, like I said, there are a lot of ways that we can work with the traditional industry. We have a lot of very good, very talented designers. So if they wanted to say, hey, we have, and we design for nothing, right? We're making printed guns for $0. You know what I mean? So, if like Springfield wanted to reach out and say, hey, we'll give you 10 grand to design this gun, whoever designs it first. Here's a list of parts, buy them for $50, $100, whatever, and then design the gun. I'm sure there would be a lot of people in the community who would be like, oh, dope, let's party.
Oh, they'd love it. And they would love bounties like that.
Yeah, let me get this super chat up here. Here we go. Wait, hold on. Didn't do it right. Let's see.
Money, 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 money.
Okay.
Money.
Hank McCormick says facial recognition and constant surveillance will be the first wave of AI. Hashtag Eagle Eye and Minority Report. So I think we're already, that's the kind of stuff is already going on. And this is from Shooting Gallery NE.
Money, 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 money. Money.
He says, "What's crack-a-lacking, everyone? Sorry, I'm late." That's from Shooting Gallery NE. So I think this is a good subject, and I agree with what Rolando said. I think that there's so many different kinds of companies out there in the firearms industry that's what makes it a variable, right? So there's a lot of companies that are owned by one person who maybe got into this a long time ago. It's kind of old school, blah blah blah. And then but that person's not actually in the business. There's other people running it, but ultimately that person's in charge. And sometimes this makes it difficult to do things. Or some companies are run by committee. There's not a lot of companies. The smaller companies are run typically by one person or a family, and they're able to move faster. The bigger companies, it's like the big ship analogy, right? The bigger companies are big, massive ships, and they're slow to turn around. Some of that has to do with laws and all kinds of different things. And I think in some cases there's intellectual property that comes into play. Like you guys don't necessarily, or the 3D printing community doesn't necessarily have to worry about patents and all that kind of stuff, but those companies have been sued.
100% don't care.
Yeah, exactly. But those companies have been sued. People have sued them. There's all that kind of stuff going on, or they're worried maybe like, okay, they talk to you, then something, this, all of that is what leads to it. But I think that folks like yourself and the other people in your community, that really is the future, because you can get in there and mess around with stuff, and there is an investment of your time and your energy, but they can almost use you guys as a way to figure out whether or not it's worth it to develop something.
Yeah,
like a test bed, and see if there's actually a demand for that. And I feel like that's what happened with High Point and the Yeet Cannon.
Yep.
Right?
Did they ever actually release the Yeet Cannon?
No, I think they're working on it. It is coming out, but I think the development on that, from what I hear, and we do have someone from High Point that comes on the podcast here from time to time, and he's cool. Dave, shout out to him. They actually technically sponsor this podcast.
Oh, nice.
So because they have ownership of Barnauls, and so when you guys hear us talking about Barnauls ammo, that's also under the kind of High Point umbrella. And I think if you guys remember when the Yeet Cannon became a thing, it became undeniable to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But remember, they've got the stuff that they're using right now to sell guns, and no problem selling it, even though it's an old kind of clunkier design. High Points are still selling.
Yeah, I mean it's got the price point, so
yeah. And once you switch over, once you get new molds, and they're not really going to be 3D printing all of those.
Right.
So that we're talking molds and stuff like that. So to actually make the investment, in what is it called? Investment grade, or,
casting?
Casting, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Once you really get into all of the stuff that goes on, that needs to take place there, it's kind of expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So... when do you
think...
Go ahead.
It might be the catch-22 of, since gun sales have been through the roof for the past more than a year now, that for them the cost benefit is we just keep selling our existing stock so much at capacity that is it worth it for us at this exact moment to finish the retooling and start the new product line when our existing product lines are dominating so much in the current climate. So
yeah.
Especially if they think new regulations come down. So, yeah.
Right. And I want to be clear, like, this is all with love. Like, we love High Point. But...
Yeah, so yeah, I mean...
love them more.
Yes. And what I would like to do is help you on that. That's why I'm having the conversation. Obviously, like, I'm giving you guys full disclosure here, but I'm not afraid of, like, companies getting mad at me, because I think we need to push some boundaries. And we need to make some connections, and we need to figure out how to work with each other. And I think that companies are losing out to ignore people like Alex and the other guys that are out there doing this. I think you're losing out in a massive way. It doesn't mean, look, you don't have to get all the way into bed. Just keep a relationship going. It's like if you look at Toyota and Tesla, Toyota was actually invested in Tesla in the beginning. Then they're like, oh, this is crap. We're getting all the way out. Now they're kind of like begging Tesla to help them out, because they made a bet on hydrogen cars, and that definitely hasn't paid off yet. Might never pay off for them. you know, and regulations and all that kind of stuff are coming into play here. But they already sold out a Tesla. Can you imagine what the value was of when they sold out a Tesla? How many ever years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to buy all the way back in here. So what I'm saying, if you're a company out there, especially the bigger companies, you have the wherewithal to look at guys like Alex and figure out a way with the lawyers and everything that you can go, what do you guys need? Do you need better 3D printers? I think we can get you some, you know, something more industrial or something like that.
I think two good parallels in industries that do a very good or have been doing a better job at this are first the automotive industry. They embrace the aftermarket culture and people that modify cars, and eventually you see brands, especially like Jeep is a good example, where they'll see people push their Jeeps off road, and then you'll see new Jeeps come out with features that used to be modifications that people made. And sometimes they'll ask people like, hey, you go out on Moab all the time, what are some things you'd like to see in your vehicle, or what are some things you've tried? And they'll bring those people in and help them design things. And the other industry that you see it in is the video game industry, where you'll have somebody modify a video game and either make it better or create something new. You know, we've seen that before with a lot of different games. And they'll bring them in, and sometimes those companies will hire that, you know, that modder and bring them into the fold, and they'll create their new games. I mean, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was a mod. Counter-Strike, a lot of those games started that way, and they become their own thing in their own right. So I think the gun community should embrace that too. Kind of like how they embraced first the competition side of shooting and started catering to that audience. Now you can cater to the custom builders and 3D printing community and try to incorporate those guys, bring them in, and let them innovate new products.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, we're not.
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
I would say we're not doing anything new, except we are doing everything new for the firearm space.
Yep.
Maybe that's not too pompous.
Yeah.
No, but that's what it is. Yeah.
I know there's people in the firearms industry that listen to this. They just don't say anything. You know, they kind of sit back in the shadows and they listen to what's going on here. I think it is a good idea to at least reach out to these guys and stay in communication and see, you know, if there's things that you could do to help these guys out. Flying Rich gave us a couple of bucks here, so here we go.
Money, 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 money.
He says, mad props to CTRL+Pew. Flying Rich is like when I get 3D printed stuff, that's Flying Rich typically so far has been the one 3D printing stuff for me. So
he and I chat quite a bit.
Yeah.
Good dude.
Yeah, he is. Yep. He is, yeah. Don't ever get in a plane with him, but yeah, he's good.
So is my stream dead for you guys?
It looks like
you're just frozen there.
Okay. Do you want me to restart, or do you just want to roll with
it? It's up to you. You can drop out and then dial back in if you need to.
All right. Let me try that.
We'll see the government, man. The government's first. His feed has to go through the CIA servers first, man. You know, NSA or something like that is going through that feed first. Yeah, making it difficult. I hope not. I hope that's not what's going on there. But definitely industry people, find out about the different guys. There's CTRL+Pew, and actually when he comes back, I'll have him list out some other people to help out, and then
Ivan the Troll is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard of Ivan also. Does he go on shows?
I don't know if Ivan reveals himself, but he does have a YouTube channel, but I've never seen him actually reveal his own face. But maybe he will go on and like just keep his face hidden or something. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask Alex or to link you up with him. Yeah. But he produces great content. And he goes very in depth. Like I know he did a video. He's working on 37mm ammunition and trying to make it work. So he went through, you know, the projectiles that he's trying to make and all that stuff and the process and his logic behind it. And even like powder charges and how to try to create all that. And eventually how he wants to make smoke rounds and different things like that. So he's produces some cool stuff.
I think we got you back.
Yeah, I'm back. It doesn't look like my stream is any better, but...
No, you're looking well.
No, you look good now. Now we can see you're in sync.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
So here's the thing. So if the industry was listening to you, let's say the industry was listening to this conversation, who are the top people? Obviously, I'm going to say Alex from CTRL+Pew, #1 on the list, going down the list. But give us like your short list of people that the industry we should all be looking at, and we should, because let's not wait for the industry to do everything. We need to help these guys out also. Who do we help out? Who do we look at?
Said on my radar, there's Matt Larosier. He's very like a lot of the guys in the community don't want to be public or don't want to be super public about 3D printing, and they're just private people. They don't want to be sort of in front of a camera. So get in touch with me, Matt. Ivan the Troll is pretty responsive on Twitter and Instagram, so you can get a hold of him pretty easily. There are a lot of the guys. Print Shoot Repeat is pretty plugged into the community. Bootlegin Shooting Sports is pretty prominent there. So there are a handful of people to get in touch with if you have ideas for a project, or again if there's something you want to talk about, and they can plug you into the smaller groups, the niche groups, the interest groups who are working on more specific things that might be a little more applicable to whatever it is that you from the industry want to talk about.
Yeah, I see. Go ahead.
I would say Walther Arms is another one. They're like more focused on ammunition, but they're doing a lot of work over there. So there are a lot of people with a lot of focuses, and it's hard to say who, but there are a handful of us who would love to connect you to someone else who's more of a subject matter expert in whatever it is you guys want to talk about.
Okay, awesome. I see Flying Ridge says Crumpy 3D prints. So John Crump.
Yep.
He's out there doing stuff. Let's see here. When do you think 3D printers are going to come more into use? Like when do you think they'll replace molds, in other words? Like when do we get to that? Cuz right now a lot of gun companies are using 3D printers, especially for prototypes or little parts. How long is it before they just skip that and jump straight to 3D printing everything?
I mean, we're going to have to see a change in the material science, I think, just because the way a 3D printer works, because it's building in two-dimensional layers. So every time you have the sort of intersection of those layers, you're creating a weak point in your final part, which you don't have with molds and injection molding. So it is a subpar part when compared to something injection molding, but you could get better results, or you could get a more interesting shape with 3D printing that you can't get out of injection molding. Okay. So I don't think they're ever going to replace injection molding. This is just going to be an additional thing that does exist. Like I want to say, we have Delrin that you cut on lathes and stuff like that. That injection molding didn't replace that. That's still a thing that exists. So maybe it's just another manufacturing process for and as we get into it, people will find specific purposes, specific shapes that they need to make that they can make with injection molding or on a lathe or a mill, and this just fits the bill and it can do it cheaper. So
yeah, will 3D printing help to making molds easier?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and again, it's a lot of it's going to depend on your final application. But there are already people who are 3D printing and then doing like a the most common sort of
lost wax
casting, except with PLA. So this is already happening. People are doing it. They're doing it successfully in garages. Yeah. I'm sure the industry can find a way to adapt that, to use it. So,
you know why a knucklehead like me knows about something like that? The
what is
lost
that?
wax method. My dad actually wrote a book on that.
Oh,
really?
Wow.
Yeah, my father has.
That's nuts.
Yeah, my dad has his master's degree in metallurgical engineering from Brunel. So he wrote a book that was his master's thesis on that. And then when I went to, it's the whole reason we lived in Nigeria. He was a professor at Polytechnic University in Kaduna in Nigeria, and he taught that. And the lost wax process comes from Africa.
Hmm.
That's where that.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how a
That's
lot
wild.
of art and stuff. Remember, they had a lot of gold, and they used that to make a lot of gold statues and different things. So yeah, that's why I know about that little nerdy tidbit I can throw out every now and then. You know, yeah. So, you know, I'm really curious to see like how long it takes before everyone. I think we're starting to get in that direction. What do you guys think? I know, like I haven't done it. I haven't done it just because it's I'm slow to take up to anything with all the craziness going on. But how long do you think it is before every gun guy has like a 3D printer? Just like how right now, I don't know. Does every gun guy have an AR-15? That might not be
No.
true,
Well, I
right?
think
No.
no, definitely not. Some people
No.
are pistol people just in general too.
Oh, and they don't. Yeah, there's AK guys.
Mhm.
I think I was talking to someone.
I think you
Yeah.
kind of have to ask yourself how many people actually build either you've got different spectrums. You've got the dudes that will buy parts and then put together like an AR-15, but it'll be like an upper and a lower, so they won't even worry about putting the barrel on. It's already all there together. Then you've got the next step where they buy everything, and they'll put the barrel together. They'll do the entire gas tube, all that completely from scratch. Then you've got the 80% people. So you have to see how many of each of those people there are. It's probably not that many when we think about it. There's a lot, but as far as percentage of gun owners, I'm not really sure. And then you can put the 3D printer guys probably with that 80% crowd and going up, because it'll be a little bit easier as time goes on. But
yeah, and I think maybe the law is just like with AR-15s, right? Like there are a lot of gun guys that didn't have an AR-15 until the powers that be start talking trash about going after the AR-15s, and then everyone wants to get in. So, and I think probably the same thing's going to happen in this space, because right now the powers that be are talking about 3D printing, right? We got to talk about this, the fact that you're here, Alex. I know you've probably spent the last couple of weeks talking about this a lot. And I don't know if you're tired of talking about it yet. You could tell us.
No, I mean it's like I assume. Are you referring to the executive order?
Yeah.
No, action. Whatever the dude said.
Well, there's things. There's people specifically looking at you guys to solve the problem. We're gonna go after these bad,
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to try and solve the problem, but we're going to ignore them or listen and then do something else. You can only regulate so far, right? If they say you can't 3D print anymore at all, that's everyone's going to be mad at them, and people just won't listen, and it'll be like, I don't know, marijuana or anything else. I don't know. I don't like
I mean, so specifically here, I'll give you a specific one. The ATF, there's leaked documents with the ATF saying that they're going to serialize blocks of metal or anything that could be turned into, that can be easily turned into a firearms part. What are you thinking about that?
Good luck. There's a lot of blocks of metal that you can make into a gun. Just saying. There are a lot of precursor parts.
Yeah,
and you have to build a regulatory scheme to contain all of that, and then you have to convince people that it's constitutionally, I don't know, allowed. And I think we've reached a point where enough people just aren't going to care or going to challenge the constitutionality of it. I think, just to step more specifically into 3D printing, I don't know that anything can be... I don't know that anything can be said until they say something specific. So...
Okay, from your part, you think it's not a good idea to...
Right.
You don't want to give them ideas, or...
Right. Well, I mean, they don't even have an idea yet. It's,
Okay.
and I think this is something that Matt pounds into me on the daily when we talk. Is it's a draft document. They don't even know what they want to say. This is pie in the sky stuff. This is revision 1. And I think the leak was tactical on their part, and it was designed to get everybody in a tizzy about this. And you can't do this or this or this, and we'll get into the nitpicky details and start feeding them like critiques of their paper. So I think any statement beyond, it's wildly unconstitutional and good luck, said bachelors, is, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think they've got experts advising them, although, yeah, that particular leak doesn't seem like there's a lot of expertise behind it. It's just like a broad brush kind of situation, and it's ridiculous. But the thing I feel about it is, yes, it's ridiculous and very difficult to implement, even if it happened. But I don't think they care about that. I think they just care about being able to say, you did something illegal, you're a felon now.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last year has also shown that Americans are much more compliant about things than many of us wish they were. And I think a lot of people are disappointed in that. I would definitely be one of them. Just that it's taken so many people in blue states like a year to finally really start getting upset about certain things. And
Do you think they're upset? I don't think they're upset yet. We're still in lockdown.
Well, I think people are finally starting to do it, but this is already more than a year later. So the fact that people are starting to get riled up is the problem. They should have been riled up a long time ago. And I think even conservatives have shown a lot of times, like people on the conservative side, they'll just kind of like sit by and be like, well, whatever, man. Like, as long as they're not bothering me, why
are they still wearing masks? Why are they still doing all of this? You're saying all these people have gotten a vaccine, right?
Well, somebody brought up a really good parallel, and it made me laugh because it's just so poignant. They're like, you have all these people on the internet that are like, I'm ready for the dance, I'm ready for the boogaloo, but then they put a mask on when they go into Walmart. Yeah. So how compliant are you that you're ready to go fight for all these things, but then you'll wear a mask in a store? I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine, but don't go around saying that you're going to start the boogaloo or all this stuff if you'll comply with a mask. Like, that's a little bit ridiculous. Clearly, you're just talking a lot of garbage. If you don't talk garbage, that's fine. You can do whatever you want, but there's a lot of blustering, a lot of fake tough guys or people that just say a bunch of junk. And it's like,
the reality is few people are going out there to do it on their own and getting thrown into the wood chipper.
Yeah. And I think people are comfortable. People are comfortable, and we still have some states that are good enough. So it's kind of the mentality of like why people getting mad about what's going on in like Minneapolis and things like that. I know this is a little bit out there, but at the same time, it's like, why do I need to get mad if the people of Minneapolis voted to defund the police and do all that stuff and burn the city down? If they want to do that, they can go ahead and do it. If they come near me, then I'm going to have a serious problem with that. But if they're not doing it with me and that's their state, at the end of the day, like, you just got to let people do what they want to do. And if that's what they want to do, hey, let them vote for that. That's not my problem.
You get what you
and
ask
I think
for.
that's how a lot of people. Yeah, I think that's how a lot of people feel. It's like, am I going to go over there and fight for California and all those people if they don't want to do anything when Florida's okay? No, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, perhaps we're just too bored in society. We have it too good. We need something bad to happen. I think that's the big thing about COVID-19, which is really manufactured. I'm not saying it's not a real thing, but the panic and the urgency and all that kind of stuff is really manufactured, and it's working because so many people need that. They need something to be, even on our side, they need something. We need something to get mad about and to talk about, to like, oh, this is so terrible. Yeah,
conflict.
Yeah, if you talk to your parents, parents, or if you're lucky enough to go back further than that, we're freaking living already in a utopia. Comparatively to how these people grew up and the things that they had to put up with and go through and the things that happened to them and how hard they had to work, we just don't have it like that.
Yeah, I think we're pretty heavily spoiled.
Yeah,
and it's going to be a minute before anybody wants to take a leap off that bridge.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Absolutely right. JNY gave us a super chat here. This is a question for you.
Money, 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 money.
Okay, so by the way, whoever wants to record one of those, you can easily do it, and then I'll sample it, and you could be famous here like Gorillas and Guns. He says, "Do you see?" Oh wait, just when I talked so damn much, it went away. He says, "Do you see additive metal or desktop CNC taking a leap in the community anytime soon?" Boom.
Probably not additive metal, at least not for another decade, just because the cost of the material is really high, and the machine cost, like it takes quite a bit of money to build that machine, with the laser and then the temperature controls and everything else that you have to do in order to hold material at a very specific temperature for that long, and then just have the laser do that much more exciting to create your 3D printable part. So the machine is expensive, the materials are expensive. I don't know that it's going to go anywhere anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
And you're cheating with the desktop CNC, but that's another, like, there are people doing things and you already know about them, because I know what Discords you hang out, Johnny.
Uh-oh. What Discords are you hanging out on?
So Fudbusters has a Discord, as do
okay.
I. They're both accessible through Subscribestar, and he's one of the dudes hanging out in there.
Oh, okay. All right. See, busted.
So
Yeah.
we talk about a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily public, and we're seeing a lot of things in the CNC community that are cropping up that are really interesting.
Okay. Do you want to take the opportunity here to talk about what you 3D printed? Huh? Rolando, I was talking to Rolando, but I mean, if you've got stuff you want to get into. Yeah.
Oh, we already talked about mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just the regular stuff, just like regular, like Glock 19s and things like that. So nothing. I haven't done any of Alex's cool, crazy stuff. But again, it's because you can't really get parts. So a lot of my prints haven't even necessarily been 2A stuff. It's been more refining the printer and getting it going, and doing more fun stuff lately until you can get.
Are you worried about talking about something that you're working on if it's not working right? Is that what it is?
No, I don't mind about it. I just don't have anything to put together. Like I said, I've got no parts to put it together.
Yeah,
so
the last time I saw Joanna, you were in the background and you had like a Glock frame or something you printed that didn't go quite well. So you could talk to CTRL+Pew about it. He might be able to,
Oh, I've spoken to him before. I've got things down.
I mean,
once he explained,
come on, this is entertainment purposes here,
Once he explained, well, one of the great things about what a lot of the guys that do in the community is that they won't just produce the files for you. They'll actually they'll produce a tutorial. And so it makes it very easy to, kind of go through, and it takes away a lot of the trial and error, because a lot of the times when you get a file, okay, great, you've got the file, but what temperatures should you be printing at? What support settings do you want? Because obviously you're printing something that can have overhanging pieces. You can't print in midair. So you have to the printer has to create a platform or support material for that, that for whatever you're trying to print to be supported. So if you choose the wrong material, sometimes there'll be way too much of it. So I had an issue where I printed, like a frame, and around the trigger guard, that's obviously the weakest point of the entire frame, since it's the thinnest. And there was just way too much support material. And you also have to make sure that your printer is calibrated well enough that it will try to print around very closely, only like a millimeter or so around certain parts. But if your printer's not perfectly calibrated, it'll be too close and it'll start fusing. So when you try to remove that material after the print is done, as was the case with me, my trigger guard, my printer wasn't tweaked enough. So pretty much my support material fused with the trigger guard. When I tried to remove it, the trigger guard broke. So that was a useless print. Next time I changed the way that the support material was, I used a much smaller percentage and a lot thinner. And this time it came out perfect. So the frame was perfect and trigger guard was fine around that. I had plenty of clearance. I tweaked the printer a little bit and it came out great. Now I'm pretty confident that I can keep using those settings, and those prints will come out fine with, regular frames. But I definitely want to print. I would definitely want to experiment with printing upside down, because I started printing frames right side up just so that, the top rail area that touches the slide will be perfectly smooth. But that means that you have to deal with more support material underneath, like the trigger guard and all that stuff that you have to remove. And that's extraneous material that takes up more plastic and more print time. So Alex can probably talk about what he thinks the best way to print like a regular pistol frame is, whether right side or what do you think? Is it worth, like, is having your, the rail side, the upright side being perfectly smooth more important than dealing with, the inconvenience of the material underneath? Or
yeah, I think wasting the extra print time and material, having the supports on the outside, is a lot better and a lot easier than digging them out of the inside.
Yeah.
It causes a lot of problems or a lot of thin faces in there that you might break. So it's again, like, it's dealer's choice though. Do what you want, like have fun with it.
Yeah.
And when you will make mistakes, and when you do, it was a $4 print or whatever, throw it in the trash, start a new one. Analyze your mistake and then do it better the next time, and then just evolve in it and continue like that. Then take all that knowledge that you accumulate into the next project that you do. So
definitely,
that's really the core of it right there. I mean,
sounds like
do the things that you want to do, and make mistakes.
Yeah, and I know one of the things that I've gotten over with first is that 3D printing takes a long time. So like a replicator or something like that from Star Trek. So one of the things at first when you start printing is that you always want to watch it, or you want to pay attention to it at all times. And you get excited about it, but then you realize, oh, it's going to take like 2 days to print this out, or it's going to take like 30 hours or something like that. And so you learn quickly to like kind of get over that, and you just kind of set it and forget it. And then you just come and check on it periodically to make sure it didn't spaghettify, or the cat didn't jump and start trying to hit the spool because she's interested in it. But luckily, she hasn't actually been a problem. She watches it, but she doesn't bother it.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm sure
once
you're
you
not
do
the
that
only
and
one
you
with
get
that
over
problem.
it, yeah, and then once you get over that, then it's actually a lot of fun because you kind of forget about it, and then all of a sudden you show up in the room and you're like, oh my god, look, something just appeared that I totally forgot about. So that kind of like creates the magic of, hey, this thing that wasn't here before is now, like, a few hours later is manifested and it's a physical object, whereas before you just saw it as, a 3D rendering on a screen. So it's really awesome and satisfying to see that happen with anything, not just 2A stuff. Even the other day, Joe and I like, all of our nerdy stuff, and it's really awesome to, hey, let's go buy this souvenir or this figurine from this franchise or video game that we like. It's like, well, let's just print it out and we paint it ourselves, and we don't have to pay like an exorbitant amount for this stupid thing. It's probably made in China anyway. So we just print it out ourselves for a few cents, and we can choose anything that we want, and maybe even print unique things that you can't even buy in a store. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's fun. You just have to. You can't. And I'm not doing it yet, but I think like a lot of things like this, I look at it. You can't be afraid to mess around with it. Just get in there and start making mistakes. And if you enjoy it, you'll keep doing it and you'll get better. But you might figure out some stuff just by making those mistakes. Or you might invent some kind of method or come up with stuff. I like looking at the videos of the guys who are testing their prints, so to see like, oh, is this stronger? What's the strongest way to do this? What's the lightest? All of that stuff to me is like fascinating. Yeah,
I wish more people would be comfortable doing that stuff on video.
Yeah,
because the community does a lot of it, and there are a lot of talented people in there who just like to print. But it would be good to get that stuff out in front of people so people understand what's going on behind the scenes. We don't just appear with, look, a gun. We can see, okay, this has been tested in 100 different orientations, 1,000 different times, and half a dozen different materials by 100 people. So,
we need more people. We do need more people to do that. I think I'm probably going to buy my machine and leave it over with Babyface. He likes building stuff. I'm going to go, okay, start messing around with this.
He'll be printing stuff all the time.
Here's the problem. He doesn't want me giving him instructions on anything. So
you don't need to. You could just send them to theguide.controlpew.com.
Yeah. Exactly. Let me see here. Lola's trying to keep us on the straight and narrow. She says digital rights management, DRM to 3D print files has been floating around the 2A community. What does Alex think about that? I know you wrote an article.
Kill it with fire.
Yeah.
Kill it with fire, salt the ashes, and then just like chuck it into a volcano.
So I know you wrote an article on this. You want to explain what it is to people? Because look, you know what's funny? There might be some people, I don't know, who don't know what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, myself and Ivan the Troll wrote an article for AmmoLand a couple weeks ago, and the idea. So DRM is a way of controlling a specific file, and as far as like ownership of it. And it was tried once upon a time with like the Apple Store way back in the day of iTunes, and it was a horrible idea that died almost immediately because the internet broke it. But it basically prevented you from copying this music that you paid for on the iStore or the iTunes Store to any other device using any other media player. So you could only use Apple. You could only use the iTunes Store, the iTunes player to ever play this song.
You couldn't share it with anyone.
Right. And so, generally speaking, the internet didn't like that. They cracked it almost immediately. And it was suggested again a while ago regarding the distribution of 3D printed gun files as a way for the industry to get involved in the space. And on the face, it's a really innocuous idea, and it would be fine if, Springfield wanted to do this. The problem that comes up is the second it's somewhat functional, it has any breath of life, some half-wit politician is going to say, hey, this is a great idea. Now this is the only way you can do this distribution. And you have to have an FFL to sign on to it. And you have to have an FFL to get anything out of it. And oh, by the way, now you Johnny home printer with an Ender 3 have to go to your FFL, fill out a 4473 for some FUD who doesn't know how to use a thumb drive to download the file and put it on the thumb drive for you to then take home and screw up. And oh, by the way, this is a single-use file. So it self-destructs as soon as you hit print, and if you mess it up, you have to go back and buy another one and do another. So that's where the poison pill is, right? The idea, the DRM idea, it's bad, but whatever. If the industry wants to do it, they're going to do it.
Yeah,
the poison pill is in the next step.
Yeah, they don't need anyone suggesting that they do that.
Right.
They would try it, and yet, like you said, of course, people would go past it. And then you're creating a thing now where they're in an adversarial position with the consumers out there. Because what are they going to sue you?
Right.
That's a big thing to start going after your customers or all of the stuff involved with that, right?
Yeah, it's just a mess. And now you've got, now little Jimmy who wanted to put Hatsune Miku on the side of his Glock gets raided by the ATF at 2:00 in the morning because he, violated their DRM. And oh, by the way, now Glock is actually suing you for violating their DRM, and it's a felony. Yeah. So you just get screwed by everybody. Yeah. It's very anti-consumer.
Why would someone, and I'm not trying to get into things with people or whatever, because I'm over that. I feel like I've said whatever I have to say about it. But why would someone, why would it be in someone's interest to suggest that or go down that path?
I mean, probably because he knows more about the gun industry than he does any other industry. Like I said, this is not a new idea. They tried it in the music industry. They tried it in the film industry. Both ideas have basically died. So it's almost, it's like it was a half idea that was, spat out in front of a camera out into the world, and it really should have just been thought over a little further.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. Are these two things adversarial to each other? Is there an adversarial relationship between the industry and the consumer? Obviously, we know where the ATF is, right? We know where the folks out there in the government, but we're supposed to be on the same team. Go ahead.
No, the ATF hates everybody, and the gun people, the community, is sort of like we're predictable. We're going to do what every community of people on the internet do, which is sort of break the rules around sharing and all that other stuff, because data is, there's a principle of like data love where, just share the data and let it out there without any restrictions. And that's kind of core to the internet as a whole. It's not even just the gun printers. It's almost universal. And the industry is just with that knowledge in hand, the industry can respond in any way they want to respond. So they can do this DRM thing if they really, really want to. Is going to be frowned upon by a lot of people. A lot of people are going to hate them for it. Or they can, play nice and respond in a different way and collaborate with us in a more productive manner instead of trying to take us at the knees. And so the ball's entirely in their court. If they wanna try and knock the wind out of us, like they'll do a better job than the ATF or any anti-gunner ever could. If they wanna not even help us, just sort of use us for the things that we're good at, then we'd be open to that too, and that'd be a much healthier relationship. But it's entirely in their court.
Yeah. I think the future is always with the dangerous people, and therefore most people out there magnetize to the folks who are dangerous. And what I mean by that, the folks on the edge who are pushing the limits, etc. And that's where things get developed. We see that all the time. We see it in the music business that you discussed before. We see it in other places. So the fact, if you go back to, what the hell was it that was streaming music again? Remember back
Napster? No.
Yeah, Napster.
Streaming
Yeah,
music.
yeah. So when that actually happened, that changed everything. Before that, the industry was super controlled and locked down. You had to go to these major labels, and you had to go through just specific distributors and all that kind of stuff. It changed everything, right? And then as that evolved to now, it's the same kind of thing. It's where you can have someone come out of nowhere in any genre of music. A kid somewhere decides to start doing this thing, and then people start sharing it, and they're like, oh, did you see this? That person becomes real popular. If you become popular enough, the industry will look at it and then maybe come to them and sign them to some kind of deal, and there it goes. They figure out how to get their thing going. I think it's the same thing in this industry, that people need to be able to develop what the people want on the dangerous, edgy side of everything. And if everyone goes, oh my god, I want that Bullpup Glock right there, I gotta have it, and it becomes a thing, then the industry could look at that and go, oh, that's interesting. People actually really want this. Now you make a better version of it.
I would be over the moon if Glock said, you know what, we're gonna make a Bullpup Glock 34. I would lose my mind. That would be hilarious. And I'd buy like 5.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they have a Bullpup Glock 34. I am pretty sure they have a Glock carbine. I am really sure of that. They have that. They've developed that.
Right? They can't not.
No, they've developed it, man. They just don't have any interest. Like, for them, time is goes slower than it does for us. When you're a bigger entity, time goes slower for you. They can make a lot of money for a long time off of whatever guns they have right now. So why do they have to put that out? They'll wait until they're not making money off of something that they're putting out there now before they ever think about that.
I also think that sometimes there's I know that we have a lot of American companies that stagnate and don't do things, but Glock being a European company and not having a consumer market domestically, like in Europe, I think that also affects certain things, because they really only develop weapons for military and police. So for them, it's like if they have a built-in industry and a built-in client, so they don't necessarily need to innovate because they know we're going to get a ton of government contracts anyway. So we might have this carbine in the background, but it will come out whenever one of our military or police clients actually say they really want a Glock submachine gun or something like that. Then it'll come out, and then they'll be like, all right, well, I guess we can make it for the civilian market too.
Today, have you ever looked at any of the stuff? Someone suggested I look at some movies about, like, there was a movie that was actually anti-gun that talked about Glock, and I thought it was really interesting. Obviously, you could clearly see their bias, but there was some interesting history stuff there. Glock, when Glock started, they were more hungry. Now, I think they had government contracts, and they were making household stuff with those government contracts, but they very quickly came up with this polymer pistol, right? Because they were hungry. You know, that was the good old days, right? Do you guys remember the good old days of being hungry when you were young? You didn't have much. You were dangerous. You could do anything. You know,
Good old days. What are you talking about?
yeah, you're still there. You're still there. You know. So I think that's kind of the situation here. Now they're the big boys. You know, they've got the money. Now it falls on the other people who are hungry to do those things. And then you start seeing, like, as people get less hungry or bigger, they're not pushing so much anymore to come out with new sexy fancy things. Even
They're
if I
like,
think, yeah,
they're like Apple. They're pretty much the Apple of like the gun space when you think about it. They've kind of rested. At first they kind of innovated, even if they weren't the first, but they were the first to make something become mainstream. Then when they established like the standard that everybody made a smartphone similar to the way that the iPhone was, the way it functioned, and all those things, and similar operating system. You know, you can argue whether Apple copied it in the first place, doesn't matter. They made it mainstream as far as people are concerned. Glock did the same thing with polymer pistols. That became the expectation. Now everything is a Glock killer. It has to be better than a Glock or anything like that. Just like a phone has to be an iPhone killer. So they're in that position now where we can just let's come out with a Glock 19, but it's got an RMR cut out, and we'll call it something crazy and charge $100 more, and it'll be innovative. Or let's say the most revolutionary Glock that's ever come out, and it's a 22 long rifle. Oh yeah. So that's like what they did. That's like saying iPhone Mini.
They
you
sold
want
so
it,
many
you
of those.
got it.
Yeah.
So
I think Apple's thing was dumbing down stuff. That's what made them popular, right? They would take things. They would take, like, everyone was building computers back then. I remember I was doing that.
Yep.
And I was doing it through my brother. You know, I'm not on the genius level, but it took kind of like geniuses. The nerdy dudes were the ones putting those things together. And Apple's like, what if we just put this together and make it simple, stupid? You know? And it just works for people, and people don't have to do anything here. They just get it. That's the same principle that goes into the iPhone and a lot of devices, and why people go that route. I think that's an opportunity here. You know, that what Control Pew's doing, what you're doing, what all the guys out there who are 3D printing stuff, you're kind of pioneering. You gotta be smart enough at least to figure it out. I'm not saying there's a lot of geniuses out there. We've seen proof that there's people who are not geniuses out there printing things. So the opportunity for companies, for industry, is to go, everyone likes this, let's take that, let's make that cheaper, faster than these guys can, and put it out there. And so instead of someone looking, okay, I got to spend $300-400 buy the printer, get the stuff, figure it out, print it, do I print it upside down, backwards, sideways, stand on one leg while I'm doing it, or do I just buy it over here? And that's why people shouldn't be looking at each other as being in competition here. We're kind of like, it's kind of creating energy by these two things playing off of each other. What do you think, Alex?
You're exactly right. Like, we can collaborate, or we can cripple each other, and it just makes more sense to collaborate. I don't know. Like, we're already working with some people in the industry. They don't want to be named yet, so I won't name them. But I mean, the beginnings of these things have already started happening, and they're already out there. They're already starting, and all we need to do is just carry it forward.
Yeah. One of the things I say to people a lot, and I'm interested in what you guys think about this. One of the things we do in the gun community, or any small communities, we act like crabs in a barrel, and everyone starts competing with each other. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't realize, like, hey, I don't have to do what if everyone's doing their videos like this, I don't have to do that. If everyone's doing podcasts, I don't have to jump and do podcasts. I can do my thing. We can all play a position and help people do things. So, for example, that's why instead of me getting a 3D, like rushing out to get a 3D printer and just start printing stuff and pretending that I'm some kind of 3D printing guru, what I want to do is figure out, how can I help the people who are doing it already? What can I do? The guys who are doing it, can I help get them in front of maybe some folks who they can't get in front of easy? The folks like Alex that are doing it, what can I do to help? You know, how can I like shine a light on what those guys are doing? And I think if we spent, all of us spent more time doing that in some way, we could move a lot of this more forward instead of us kind of just like consuming each other because, oh wait, this is a new thing, I'm gonna jump on that. You know, very dangerous thing. I'm not trying to discourage people from doing stuff. I'm not trying to discourage anyone from doing a podcast or doing YouTube videos or whatever it is. If you're looking at it and you're like, oh, this guy's an idiot, if he can do it, you know, I'm 10 times smarter than Hank Strange, I could definitely jump out there and do it. It's probably true. But figure out a way you can help. Go ahead.
No, my talk at Firearms and Bitcoin was, you know, we're basically retards from the internet, and so can you. You know, it's not hard to get. It doesn't take a lot of intelligence, and anything you need to learn can be learned through experience. So dive in, get a printer, start.
Yeah, I think sometimes you need the guy that's going to strap the 5 wings on his back and jump off the roof of the barn to just prove to you that it doesn't work sometimes.
Yeah. Oh,
so you need that guy that's going to push the boundaries and will print that gun that's going to blow up. Yeah, that's going to blow up, but he's going to tell you like, okay, this crazy design's not going to work, or it's not going to work if you print it with only 50% infill. I figured it out. So
that's how we got people into space.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you need those people that are ready to push boundaries, that might do things that might not seem that smart, but they might make a breakthrough. And sometimes that breakthrough is literal. It'll blow up in their face and they'll know, holy cow, I didn't think that this would work this way. Now I know not to try it that way, or we can come up with a different design. Or they might try something crazy and it works out better than any traditional design. And somebody would be like, wow, I never would have thought to print out a gun in the shape of like an egg. And that worked for some reason. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, now we have to do it.
I know.
Yeah, the plasma pistol from Halo is actually the most ergonomic and the best design of all. And if somebody just prints it out, we'll figure it out.
Isn't the gun from Fifth Element also shaped a little bit like an egg?
Oh yeah,
Kinda.
they've got the one. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that thing it pops out all those little pods and all that stuff. Yeah, it is kind of like an egg.
Yeah, I want stuff like that. Okay, Flying Rich said this, and we should try to do it here. He says, Hank, get Alex to show prints. So,
okay.
Yeah, what can we show? What can we show?
Are we allowed to hold guns on your stream?
What's considered? What is considered a gun?
Yeah, it might not be a gun. What you're showing us is probably not a gun.
I mean, I can. If we keep the screen like this, I can make it levitate.
Oh, okay.
No, go back.
Oh, if you keep it like this. Oh, I get it. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah. So.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Oh, now?
Let's see if we get in here. Are we?
You want to go full screen now?
No. Leave it like it is. There we go. My stream is laggy. I don't know what's going on.
Oh,
so here's the Bullpup Glock. I'm not holding it or wielding it or anything. It's just floating here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's on a stand.
Yeah. That rotates.
Yeah.
Maybe if my stream ever catches up.
It's turning around.
Yeah.
That's so sexy. That is so sexy.
That thing is very cool.
Right?
This
is not a firearm. This is the Shush Puppy. And again, my stream is. I don't know what's going on with my video.
I don't know. Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's really bad. It's
that's big. Me. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's like what is that? I have a 12 gauge suppressor. What is it called? The Silencer Co. one.
Oh.
The one that goes on, like mine goes on the
it's not the Thunder Chicken, is it? Or is that the big one?
Thunder Chicken. No, what is that? I have that 12 gauge suppressor.
I'm thinking QQ. Q is the Thunder Chicken.
No, not Q.
Right.
What is the Silencer Co. one called? I put it on my KSG. Someone out there will tell me. Yeah, that's cool. So what caliber is that for again? 9? 22?
That's for 9. There's been a version tested for 45. So anything in between there or lower will work. You just change the bore when you print it. And then We haven't done rifle cartridges yet. We're thinking about it. It's kind of sketchy. We've run some sims and they haven't really done well. So yeah.
Shout out to Smash Time out there. I see Clover Tack out there. He says, Clover says you need to read Glock Rise of America's Gun. It will give you some insight on Glock and how they run the business side of things, plus other cool stuff. Yeah, they sue the crap out of, well, at least in the beginning, they sued the crap out of everyone.
What was the that silencer that Brandon tested recently? It's a manufactured one that's a polymer 3D printed.
I don't remember the name of it.
What was that
thing was thick. He was mag dumping like 5.56 through that thing, and it's a 3D printed suppressor. He ran it over.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's made out of. I'm thinking like Zytel or something really exotic, like really nice stuff. Because that thing was amazing.
It's some kind of nylon.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I don't think I saw that video. Brandon's in Texas.
I think it came out like last week. Yeah, he was hog hunting with he was hog hunting with a bunch of the dudes down there. Mr. Guns and Gear was down there too, I think.
Yeah, by the way, congratulations to Brandon. He's like over a mil. Where is he now? I know he's over a million.
He broke into the big time.
Yeah, forget about it.
He's a professional.
He's insane. Yeah, that hair's gonna get longer.
Brandon's a professional.
Oh God, boy. I don't know if I would actually describe him as that. There's fighting words,
right?
Yeah,
professional.
Okay. Look, we're already sort of feuding, right? No, we're already semi-feuding over this Glock, so it's fine.
Oh, you are?
Oh, man.
Well, okay, so he was on a stream on Twitch one day, and somebody asked him, right?
Yeah.
He hates bullpups, he hates Glocks. And he was on a stream and someone asked him if they could bullpup a Glock, and he said no, and that birthed this thing into the world. Yeah. So just our spite project. It's fine.
Brandon is just mad because there actually is a 50 cal bullpup and there isn't a 50 cal AK yet. That's all.
Right?
Ooh, oh man.
He's just mad about that. That's all.
I'm not saying the printers are going to beat him to it, but
that is going to be on. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But there is one more gun I'll spoil for you.
3D printed 50 cal AK bullpup. Ba-boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That will make his head explode and his hair set on fire. And it'll be so worth it.
So this is the last gun I'll spoil for you.
Holy moly!
Somebody did an photoshopped. I think it was photoshopped extended grip Glock 26. So we decided we were just going to go make one that you can print.
How many rounds is that?
Will that only take the 31 rounders?
Its standard capacity is the 32 round magazines.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That has to be.
Sorry?
That has to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'll show you.
Can those be can those be printed with can those hold on, here we go. Okay.
There it is.
Yeah, this is the V1 print sort of fresh off the thing.
Nice.
Yeah, see, there you go. Use the tree support so that it lets the trigger guard be exposed so it, end up breaking everything.
And I can't show you because I'm stripping the support material off it.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. You got the gist.
That's so awesome. That's so much awesome right there. Yeah. That's sweet. So much awesome. Okay, that was worth everything. The spoiler here is it took like 5 minutes. I sat down with the cat. It took like 5 minutes to make, and that was the thing. Mm-hmm. 5 hours to make, and then like another 8 hours to print. Mm-hmm. So, and so can you. So, yeah. Anyone out there can do it. Clint Sanders says Salvo 12. Yep, that's what it is. Boom. I got one of those Salvo 12 thingies. Those are cool. Let's see.
We should put this on a shotgun. I need to do another Form 1.
Yeah.
And then I'll put this on a shotgun. We'll see.
Let's see how it is.
See how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
have to add a couple more. Probably have to add a couple more baffles to it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, a few more. You don't have to, but it's going to help.
I feel the need.
Yeah, it's going to help. Mr. Lovell says, why can't you take a welder and hook it up to a 3D printer and put a tiny dot of metal over and over? Question mark.
I mean, you can, but like oxidization isn't great, so it tends to like slag and make a mess.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are printers that somebody built a bridge doing that. And like the Netherlands, they built a pedestrian bridge out of like weld
Yeah.
across.
Do you
And
know?
so
Hmm.
it was weird because so they built this little rail for the robots, and then the robots extended the rail with the weld, and they welded their way across this bridge. It was wild.
Like, don't
But
ants do
That's
that?
pretty cool.
In I think ants do that
yeah,
somewhere, right? Yeah.
ants do that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, you know what I've been following in the 3D printing space? I think is interesting. Printing homes.
Oh
Printing
Yeah.
yeah,
3D printing
that's gonna be
houses.
cool. Hmm.
It's
Yeah, that's
happening.
kind of wild stuff. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
they're relatively cheap and relatively reliable too, or
Yeah.
durable.
Yeah, it's happening. Even here in Florida, there's a couple of places in Florida that they've 3D printed houses.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's a big, basically. So a concrete machine, is just basically a big concrete printer kind of thing. So there's something
Right.
processing the concrete, and it's coming out through like like a spout type situation, just like in a printer. And
Hmm.
they set up the robots, and it just keeps going, and then prints up houses, and they're more efficient, and they're more energy efficient, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's actually pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3D printing is finding its way into a lot of interesting applications.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The big thing that I worry about, and I think that we all in the gun community, Second Amendment, anyone who believes in freedom needs to fight for it. We do not want these people to get the idea that they can start regulating 3D printers. It happened with drones. People let them think they can regulate drones, and they started doing all kinds of stuff, and they really killed. I'm not saying like the drone industry is not killed, but there's all kinds of crap now in drones, and people
Yeah,
aren't as interested in it.
the DIY industry is really suffering just because of all the extra regulation that you have to do
Mm-hmm.
or deal with.
Yeah.
The Ardu pilot program was one that I watched for a long time, and I've played with it. It's fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
DIY autopilot for drones,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean there have been some issues that have come up with regulation around no fly zones, and you have to write into the software now, and then you have to so there's some liability around who's responsible for that now. So it's just a hot mess.
Yeah.
And government regulation is generally bad
Yeah.
on just about every application. So
Don't let it happen, and the biggest way we can all fight back, everyone needs to get a printer. What's the hot
Yeah.
printer right now? I know I ask you this every time you come on.
it's still the Ender 3, the Ender 5. They're still just bang on consistent. They're right out of the box. You can pretty well set up and go.
What
There
about
are
the
some
6?
things
I
you'll need
saw
to
someone mentioning the 6. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all of the Creality printers are they're all based on that very similar motion system, and the motion system is pretty refined. So
Okay.
and anything beyond that is just add-ons and little features that you might want. So if you want an enclosure or something, or if you want a pretty touch screen, or it's entirely up to you. It's your money. But the Ender 3, Ender 3 Pro, Ender 5 Pro are cheap enough now that they're just 300. No, $200 for the Ender 3 Pro. I think it's $400 for the Ender 5 Pro. 350, 400, somewhere in
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But again, it's cheap. It's not a lot of money to get started in a hobby, and you get to do a lot with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Lovell is asking a question here. He says, "Have you 3D printed a 22 LR barrel like the gun from In the Line of Fire with Clint Eastwood?"
Yeah, what we have, the issue with 22 is the chamber pressure is kind of high for the material that we're working with. So PLA plus, even ABS starts to fracture around that chamber pressure. 32s and 38s can take it a little better. But it's plastic is still just a subpar material for barrels, and there's really no way around that. You just need a better material to start with. So it can be done. It'll fare in about the same way as like the Liberators did.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to Gorillas and Guns. I know it's 9 o'clock. We're gonna go a little bit longer here because we started late. If that's okay with you guys. I don't know if there's any other questions folks have out there for Alex of CTRL+Pew. If you guys have 3D printing questions, this is the time. Do you have any? What's been going on that maybe we're not asking you about that we should be asking you? That you're going to say, these idiots, if they knew anything, they would ask us about.
I mean, the propaganda team is really picking up steam. We're all annoyed at the ATF and about Chippy, and I mean, I'm on the one hand, I'm glad that he was the guy, because there's no, like, you can't paint him in any light other than he hates gun people.
Yeah, David Chipman is one of those batshit crazy people that. Yeah. That's going to be a fiasco, that confirmation hearing. Do you think he's going to be confirmed?
I mean, I kind of hope so. Because then the entire agency becomes the enemy of every gun owner, period. And I hope that motivates enough people to pay attention, and they won't be able to move anything forward. So
okay, that I mean, I would definitely like to see the ATF get shut down as much as possible.
Lindsey Graham loves him confirming some Democrat nominees. He loves it. He loves doing it. And there's plenty of other Republicans, they love doing it. They're like, we're going to be conservatives. We compromise with the other side. We're more mature than they are. So we'll confirm whoever they send out there. They could be a card-carrying communist with a hammer and a sickle right in their pocket. We don't care, because we're going to be the party of compromise here.
Yeah,
so that's how they always are. But I'm with Alex. Like, let them, at this point, just let them throw what they want, and let them be the self-fulfilling prophecy. Because the easier it is for us to say "I told you so," then the easier it'll be to fight later on. And honestly, I think it'll push some of these states it'll push the states to actually put their money where their mouth is. Like, are you guys really going to be sanctuary states? Are you really going to do all this stuff? Are you going to stand up to the feds? Well, now you get to prove it, because they're actually going to do something if this guy is in charge. Again, Matt the lawyer has a long spiel about the sanctuary states, but like a lot of them don't actually do anything. They have no teeth. Don't.
They're just we're not going to help you probably. Maybe, I don't know. We promise we may not help. There's nothing in there that says, look, we're going to come after you personally, civilly, if you try and enforce any of this.
Yeah.
No, they're basically like, we won't help the feds investigate. That's basically the best that you're going to get. And if they arrest you, sorry, it sucks, but at least it won't be our cops arresting you. So
right. Probably.
That's pretty much. Yeah, probably. Unless the feds pay us a lot of money, they're going to take away our road taxes, and then we're going to be like, oh, no, we can't build roads. Now we're going to have to enforce illegal gun laws.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have given them so much money to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah. But then we're going to have to go back 100 years and stop them from doing that in the first place.
Well, yeah, I think sometimes the states need to, inevitably, if you're the person running the state and you want to be successful, it's just politics, right? You want that money so you could say, oh, we did this. Look at us. We're so awesome.
Of course. I mean, and states are in a different position because they can literally do something like, we won't increase taxes, but let's increase revenue by asking the feds to give us money. So that's kind of how they get around it. So it's like, hey, we can ask for more money from the feds. We didn't increase your taxes. That's awesome. And meanwhile, it's like, well, how did you sell our souls to the feds this time?
Yeah. The government doesn't do things right. This is why it needs to be more things in our lives. We're going to be happier as people the more we decentralize. And there's so many things to talk about here, but I don't want to get out because you said you did that event, Bearing Arms and Bitcoin. Today, Bitcoin was crashing, man. Like all cryptos were crashing. What's the deal there, man? What was happening here?
Biden said he wanted to tax double the personal capital gains tax on crypto.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. The whole crypto space is kind of weird still, and like I understand a lot of what's going on, but I still don't understand what drives the market price, aside from demand, which is I don't understand the demand factor of cryptocurrency. So
I think what crypto has done is that I think crypto exposed the financial market for what it is. Because one of the biggest things that I used to hear people say all the time is, well, it's not a real asset. And I was like, since when has the dollar been a real asset?
It's not for a long time.
Right.
The dollar is a digital currency that's not cryptographic at this point. That's what it is.
It's just controlled by the government of whatever
it's just the
value
Fed
it
says
is.
how many zeros and how many zeros do you have after that? Okay, well that's now we go to the computer in the Federal Reserve and we type out, okay, we need $1 trillion more dollars. Boom, add 3 more zeros to that. We're good to go. And we don't even print out the fiat cash at this point to compensate for it. So that's why I'm like, crypto is the same thing as regular currency at this point, except it's more useful for different things, actually.
Yeah.
Because digitally it can represent something else. You can use it for contracts or, even to make software, depending on if you're using Ethereum. Bitcoin is kind of only good as currency. That's kind of what it was.
If you're going to spend it, I think that's what Rob was
Ethereum
saying
is
from
more
TUSC.
flexible for creating a lot of different things, but
my biggest problem with crypto.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, my biggest problem with crypto is that I can't just use it for anything.
Yep.
Well, anything that I need. I can't go to a company and buy ammo. I can't go and buy filament. I can't go and buy a lot of things. So I'm not all I have it, and a lot of guys use it, but we wind up just dumping it for cash and then buying the things we need because we're using it as a utility, as a means of commerce almost. Like a fiat dollar, and what we wind up having to do is trade it for $1.
Yeah,
so,
it's when you can skip over that. You're saying then it really becomes something powerful,
right?
And I think people are working on that. So I know there's some people out there who are against crypto, and they're like, "Oh, see, I told you it's crashing." Well, think about why it's crashing. It's crashing because Biden says he's going after it. Now, it crashing is not necessarily a bad. First of all. Bitcoin came down to $50. That's not really crashing.
Yeah, 50K. Yeah.
I mean, 50,000. Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, if it went at $50,
$50,
oh my God.
I'll be all in. Yeah.
I'm dropping tens of thousands.
I'm gonna sell my
of
house
that.
tonight.
Yeah. Some guns are getting sold. Some guns are getting sold.
Right.
My bad on that one. But it came down to 50,000. I mean, what a year ago it was like 30 or something like that, or. Probably less.
I think
20?
it was much less. Yeah, it exploded in 2020.
But what's happening is because Biden is going after it. Okay, why is he going after it? Because lots of wealthy people are putting their money into that, right? Why are people putting their money there? Why are people investing into it? And like Alex said, not spending it because they don't trust the dollar.
Yep.
So they're trying to go after the people's money, and this is why theoretically this is happening. In the long run, we're going to figure this out. It's one of the things, just like 3D printing, we're not going to allow the government to force us to stay on the dollar. It's not happening. It's just a question of how much time do we have to go through here? But the government wants control over it, so they're proposing, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in here and slap this with a massive tax. That's the government once again exercising or trying to exercise some kind of control over what the people do and keep the people enslaved. And you should be the enemy of your enemy is your friend. Okay? When people like Biden hate crypto coin, that should be telling you something. Just think about it. So, and there may be opportunities there to buy into it. Look, I have TUSC. That's the only crypto I have. And it's come way down. It's more affected by what's going on out there. But in my mind, this kind of stuff solidifies why we need to think about these things. And I think exactly as Alex just said, we need to make sure that we can actually use this to buy things.
See, I talk to a lot of people who buy a lot of crypto, and they're not insanely wealthy people. And I keep thinking to myself, I wonder if that $10,000 would be better spent if you started a business. Spend $10,000, buy some inventory, sell it, get $20,000, buy some more inventory, sell it, get 40,000. So I feel like there are better ways for people to use that money than buy crypto. But because a lot of people are buying it with the intention of we're going to get more money. I don't know. It's one of those.
It's like the stock market, right? You're wondering if people are speculating on it instead of it something actually being useful.
Right, and I feel like a lot of that's happening.
Yeah. I agree with you, but that still doesn't negate the fact that we need it. We will never get
Right.
rid of the people speculating. We'll never. I don't think we should get rid of the stock market. I think people should be able to speculate. I think people should be able to short stuff and all that, everything that goes on there, right? And it's good and it's bad, but we need these kinds of things. And I think that we need something like this. We need to get away from what the government's doing because they're not doing the right thing for us. Just like we need 3D printers because industry, whether it's the firearms industry or the automotive industry or any other industry, is not doing the right thing for us. They don't really have their finger on the pulse of what it is we're looking for and what we need. You know, we're about to go in the next couple of years here, all these companies are going to stop making combustion engine vehicles. You know, and they're going to try to force people in a direction, and we need an ability. I own an electric car, but we need the ability to say no. We want choices. We want to do what we want to do, and these kinds of things are the ways to do that. And I think it's the same thing with the currency. The government should never be should have this much control over the currency. It just shouldn't be. And Americans, so if we look at it as us here in America, we've paid the price for that. This is why things are going to be more expensive. And the more money, the more checks that just go out there to people, the worse it's going to be. And we've spent, we're approaching a year and a half that we haven't been doing anything. And then these guys are just going to, just putting money out there. That's not going to be good for us. It's not good for the dollar, and they don't really care because they themselves have figured out other ways and places that their money is. So they know that. The folks in Congress making all these laws and doing all this crap, they know what they're doing. They know how destructive it is. This is why they have money on the stock market. They have money in cryptocurrencies and all of that. And this is just some news of something that Biden is floating out there because of Earth Day and Greta Van Sustrenburg or whatever her name is. But it's you need to look at it and think like, oh, this might be a thing here. This is why people are paying attention to it. So I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, listen, I don't want to hold everyone because it is 9:15. That's what time it is here. I don't want to. Alex has got stuff to print and all that, and I'm sure Rolando has things to do. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to go through the guys here and let them tell you where you can find them, support them, and all that. Hopefully, we'll get Rolando and Control+Pew to come back here. We need to do like a summit.
Always.
We need Matthew LaRossiere, Control+Pew. Who else should we throw in that mix? We need to do some kind of summit here.
Get the
Come back to me. There's
Mount
a long
Rushmore.
list,
Huh?
right?
Say get what? What was that, Rolando?
The Mount Rushmore together.
Yeah. You know, we need to sit down and predict the future of the gun industry all together.
That'd be cool. You're mobile now, so we can. I'll be down in Florida later this year. We should
Oh, you
all
are?
hang
Okay,
out.
cool.
Sweet.
Yes, absolutely. Please, when you're here, let me know, man. We'll meet up somewhere, or you can always come here, shoot stuff with us, or we'll make things
Right
happen.
on.
Yeah. All right. So let's start with Rolando. Rolando, where can the people find you?
You can
How can they
find me
support you?
on the you can find me on the socials at Puerto Rican Pistolero, and you can find my wife. She's my partner in crime. She's Latina Locked and Loaded. Together we do the Locked and Loaded Latinos podcast every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you can find us on all the socials there. Check out our YouTube channel. Alex has been on the show. That was actually our best episode. We had a great time with him.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what we do. So that's where you can find us. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot for having me on, Hank.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Alex is always an awesome guest. I always feel kind
I
of
do like
guilty.
it.
I feel like we're not up to the par of his awesomeness.
Nah,
Yeah.
it's
You have to
okay.
ask the right questions.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a retard from the internet. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, the great thing about Alex too is you can start talking about memes and video games, and you can totally change the show and go
Yeah.
down that
Right.
path.
Yeah. So after we roll in the end, we're gonna come back and have Alex drop some words of wisdom. But Alex, tell the folks out there where can they go to support you or find out more things, ask you questions, all that.
All right. So I am Control+Pew. You can find me at Control+Pew on Twitter and Facebook. I did just catch the boot on Instagram, so now I can't believe it's not Control+Pew on Instagram. Go give me a follow there. If you want to support what we're doing with the broader community, go to donate.controlpew.com. You can send Bitcoin straight to devs that way. Controlpew.com for everything else, news and events if you don't want to plug into the community proper. Shop.controlpew.com. Support the devs that way. I do merch and stuff like that. What else? Oh, the guide.controlpew.com if you want to get started with 3D printing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. And let me do this before I go to the end also. I just want to say, like, for anyone who's into rap like me, this has been, like, this last week has been ridiculously crazy. Last week and a half on the rap world. So DMX, you know, then Black Rob, and then from Digital Underground, Shock G, right?
Yep.
I heard about that yesterday, so that's crazy, man. I don't know what's happening, what's going on with all the rappers or whatever from, like, my generation. It scares me. I'm, like, in the same age category as those dudes.
Is there like a bad batch? There's like a bad batch of something that, like, maybe everybody ate at the same time, and now it took like 20 years to manifest or something.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It bothers me, but it's sad. I mean, those guys are really, like, true pioneers, artists, and stuff like that. So, I just wanted to take some time to acknowledge that. You know, and I know that there are some folks who are out there in the chat and stuff like that were telling me about that as well. I'm gonna run in the end, and we're gonna come back, and then Alex is gonna drop his words of wisdom on us. So,
oh boy,
just wait for that, and then maybe he'll show some kind of Glock thing he has sitting over there. Maybe we'll see that here in the end. Let's run in the end. All right, guys. I don't even know what that's like looking out the window or something right now, that camera. I don't even know where it is. But thanks for watching. Smash the thumbs up, ring the bell so you can be notified when we go live. We will rip the audio out of this, throw it up on iTunes and all the other places you get your audio podcasts. Alex, right now at the end of the show, it looks like your camera is all of a sudden working.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh, no, it's still not working. No, your voice
it's still laggy.
Yeah.
Great.
Drop your words of wisdom and show us something awesome.
Let's see here. I'm a retard from the internet, and so can you. Buy a 3D printer, print your own guns because it's fun.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, do at this point, do I need to give you a reason? We have a Bullpup Glock. Just go and do it.
Show it to us. It's going to be the thumbnail.
Right.
Or do you have something else there? Let's see it.
Well, first off, I have my Glock 40, my problem solver right here.
Boom.
And then I have the Bullpup Glock.
Yeah, that's a stun gun. That's a stun gun.
Yeah, they're totally taser.
Oh, that's badassery, man. That is so. Oh, look at that. That's nice. Okay, awesome.
Very cool.
All right, so listen. We're getting more awesomeness out of it. Okay, so listen. Everyone out there, be safe. We're gonna see you guys next week. We'll see you on Monday. Be safe, everyone. Big thanks to Rolando, Puerto Rican Pistolero, for coming into the show, as well as Alex, Control Pew. All you guys out there, if you're still out there, smash the thumbs ups. Big thanks to Harry's Holsters. We'll see you. We're out of here. Peace.